You want to have a homestead in the worst way. The animals out in the pasture, the vegetables growing in your garden, being able to enjoy time with your family outside. But there's one little problem. You have to pay your bills. You need a job, right? In this video, we're going to talk about how you can be both a homesteader, a farmer, someone who loves spending time outside, and still pay the bills and keep the lights on. It's a challenge. But over the last 5 years, I've been able to go from commuting off farm, having a full-time job, to now being self-employed and spending almost every day of the month here on my homestead. So let's talk about how we did it. The main key to being able to be a farmer on your homestead, enjoying that life, and paying the bills, I think, is diversifying your income. 5 years ago when we started our homestead, I had a job that I had to commute into every day. I was working in construction and I really enjoyed it, but there was a problem. When you have an off-farm or an off-homestead job, it means you're spending a lot of time at your job, a lot of time commuting back and forth from the job, and it really limits what you can do here on the homestead. I couldn't have a full-time job and grow our homestead to the level that we wanted to grow it to. So we figured out we needed to diversify our income. At first, the idea was that I could work less at my job instead of working full-time if I had some income coming in from another source. And the obvious idea was income from the homestead. We had raised chickens for meat, we had raised pigs for meat, we had farm fresh eggs, some vegetables we were growing, and we thought, if I'm able to go from a 5-day-a-week job to maybe a 3-day-a-week job, I can spend those extra 2 days working here on the homestead, and that extra produce and those extra animals that I'm able to raise, we can sell, and that way we could earn some money from the homestead, and that would allow me to spend more time growing the homestead. So that's what we did first. And for those first couple years, we were able to grow our homestead business, and that was classes on the farm and meat, which pork and chicken was our meat of choice. That was the first way we diversified our income. The plus side was we were earning some money from the farm. But the problem was we weren't earning enough from the farm to replace those couple of days that I was taking off from my main job. During the time of building our farm business, I learned a few skills. I learned how to build a website. I needed to sell pastured pork and pastured chickens without going to a farmer's market every Saturday. So I learned how to build websites. And I learned how to get those websites found on Google. Now I had a skill that I was able to actually bring to market that had nothing to do with homesteading or farming, but it was something that I could do from home and I could make pretty good money doing it. So I started to pick up some side work from people who had their own businesses and who wanted a website or needed to be found on Google. I was able to build that internet marketing business over time to the point where I realized now I could quit my full-time job and work from home doing internet marketing. It was a rough couple first months, things were tight, but we eventually picked up enough clients to now I'm completely self-employed with my internet marketing business. So that was the second way we diversified our income. I stopped working in construction and that allowed me to be home much more, which meant we could grow the homestead more. Internet marketing is our primary way that we pay the bills. But I really am a big believer in diversifying your income. So while I was building my internet marketing skill set, I also decided to launch this podcast and then this YouTube channel, Homesteading. I have a big passion for homesteading, for hunting and fishing and foraging, and I thought I would love to share that on a show. So we built up the podcast as yet another diversification, another source of income that we could bring into the home. And over the last almost 3 years now that we've been doing Homesteading, we've been able to earn income from the podcast and the YouTube channel in a bunch of different ways. And we'll talk about that in a future video. Here today, we have 3 income sources. We still have the income from the farm, we have income from homesteading, and the biggest income, the way we pay the most bills, is through my internet marketing business. By diversifying way back when I had a full-time job and starting that side hustle, that led to an even bigger side hustle, which became a full-time work-from-home career. And now that's what I have. I can work from home, and I don't even need to work 5 days a week. I can work less time, I can make more money because it's my own business. I'm not getting paid by the hour. And with that, I have the freedom to do what we want to do on the homestead. I am the primary breadwinner. I am also the primary farmer on the property. It can be done. You can do both, but it's really hard if you have a full-time job that you have to commute to. So the point of this video is this. Start thinking about ways you can diversify your income. And don't stop there. Keep thinking of ways. As you continue to diversify that income, find out what other paths you could take. Maybe you have a side income from your homestead, some extra surplus from that homestead. Or maybe you have another skill, something you could sell on Etsy, or a skill you could perform locally. Now you have more customers. And that way, should one of those customers decide to fire you, especially if that customer is your boss, you have other customers to help protect that income source. And you never know, the more you diversify, which one of those paths will take off to the point where you could quit your job and now be self-employed completely. So diversifying is a great way to have a little bit more insurance on your income, and also to maybe open up some new opportunities to an even better income in the future. Something that will allow you more homesteading flexibility and maybe allow you to homestead full time. The point of this video and this entire series is not going to be to tell you that you should copy what I'm doing. It's to inspire you to think about ways you can do something similar. So what ways can you diversify your income without quitting your job? Let's say you still have to keep your day job. What ways could you start a side income? What could you do? Think about it. Tell us in the comments below what ideas you have. If you have any questions too about those ideas, be sure to fire them off in the comments below. I check the comments and the questions every day. Speaking of which, we had a couple questions that people asked about this series, and one of them in particular I wanted to share today. Over on YouTube, Cozy Farmstead asked, how did you discover your talents or gifts and realize that others might benefit from you from sharing them? They go on to say, I am a homesteader as well, but I'm pretty new at it and only fumbling my way along. I wouldn't want to pretend I am an authority on it. Thanks. So, Cozy Farmstead, I totally understand. When we started 5 years ago, we were bumbling along, and in a lot of ways, we still are in new endeavors that we're doing. So don't let the fact that you're new at something hold you back from trying to start some kind of income. Can you develop an income right from your farm or your homestead? Could you do a couple classes on the things that you have got good at? I often tell people who have this issue about not wanting to seem like they're pretending to be an authority. There are some things that are very simple to be an authority at. And I use the example of shoelaces. Once you learn how to tie shoelaces, you don't have to then spend 7 more years tying shoelaces to teach someone else how to tie shoelaces. It's as simple as that. If you know how to do one thing, let's say that's raise egg-laying chickens, well, you could talk about that. Let's say you know how to butcher a chicken. Well, you don't have to do that for 7 more years to be an expert at it. If you know how to butcher a chicken, you could teach someone else how to butcher a chicken. And that's what we did. Our first year of butchering chickens, we learned how to do it. We got through the hard part. The next year, we started having classes on how to butcher chickens, because it's one of those tasks that doesn't require years and years of mastery. So don't project yourself as an authority on something you're not, but find what you could share and try to see if you could find some side income from that. Hope that helps your question there, Cozy Farmstead. If anybody else has questions about this topic, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Over the next week or so, we're going to cover each of those diversified incomes in their own video. Throughout the next week or so, you'll see a video on the farm income that we generate, on a video on how the podcast and YouTube channel generate money, and a video on how my internet marketing business works and what kind of income that brings in. And finally, we'll talk about investing and what ideas I have for us in the future. We also have a fantastic episode of the podcast which will be coming out next week, which is all about growing wealth. We interviewed John Puglano from Investable Wealth and the Wealthsteading podcast, and he shares with us some great advice on how over a lifetime you can build wealth to the point where you could stay on your homestead full time and just enjoy that lifestyle. A lot of good things to look forward to, so make sure to subscribe. And if you like this video, this entire series is going to be really big in helping people to make their homesteading dreams happen this year. So do me a favor, please share this video. You could share it here on YouTube, share it on Facebook, whatever your favorite social media is, or if you just email it to a friend. Please share, and if you did, let me know in the comments below. I'd be super excited to hear that. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.